Good day, everyone. I am Jericho F. Ignacio, a third-year college student from Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English at the Nueva Ecija University of Science and Technology. And this is 121, educational presentation about the useful digital application Google Classroom in education in today's world. In our world, there are many changes that can happen. Year 2020, when everything started to change, that normal life just disappeared. That at the present time, we are incarcerated in the worldly prison, where we cannot leave our home to survive against the COVID-19 pandemic, where this pandemic had a huge impact on the lives of human beings, especially in the field of education, that face-to-face classes have been replaced by online classes. Don't worry, because we are in the digital age that many of the educational application can be used as a learning platform in the teaching and learning process. But the question that lacks our mind is, how can teachers and students like us survive in the online class? What educational application are useful and appropriate to use? Well, the answer to that question is the digital application Google Classroom as educational platform in the teaching and learning process in distance learning. What is Google Classroom? Google Classroom is an educational application that facilitates online learning. Explains that the implementation of electronic learning in Google Classroom is taking place because teachers infuse technology and real-life tasks in Google Classroom to expand the extent of learning in this digital age. That results in creating interactive discussion on virtual learning. That in Google Classroom, students and teachers build good connections towards in having good quality of education and building community of learning in achieving effectively and successfully the intended learning outcomes. As a language learner, Google Classroom has a lot to offer in language education because it has many features. Features of Google Classroom. Learning materials. The teacher can post educational materials in Google Classroom that after posting it, student can easily view and download it. So in that matter, organized learning materials is being posted. Virtual learning presentation. Teachers can post and create learning discussions in Google Classroom that students can watch, meaning students have free access to watch that video presentation. Virtual meetings. Teacher can post Google Meet links in the Google Classroom in order for students to join for a synchronous class. Assessment. Teachers can post Google Forms that students must fill out to assess their learning progress. Announcement. The teacher will be able to post announcement to let students know what to do, explaining that proper implementation of the flow of lessons and activities are executed orderly. Assignments. The teacher can create learning activities by uploading images, documents, and possibly videos from YouTube and Facebook. Uses of Google Classroom. Anyone can use Google Classroom. Collection and distribution. Teacher can properly and accurately collect and distribute student work in organized and well-managed manner. Academic feedback. Teachers will be able to communicate and give students feedback regarding their learning activities and academic performances conducted, because after reviewing student work, teacher can give them grades and student can view it. Lesson learned. By using Google Classroom, students will absorb, classify, analyze massive chunks of information regarding the lesson being studied, and it will lead to them to gain knowledge and information and become productive individuals. The relevance of using Google Classroom in language education are It will help the teacher address student diversity. It will enable the teachers create suitable lessons for his or her learners. Lessons that are appropriate, accurate, and meaningfully helps language learners. It will show the teachers student learning progress about language education. It will allow the teacher integrate the 5 macro skill in his or her lessons. And it will allow the teacher to engage and help his or her learner gain access to the 21st century language and literature skills. I therefore concluded that educational tool Google Classroom is appropriate and useful digital learning application in education because it expands the mental horizons of students and educate them new ways and knowledge of looking at themselves to grow as productive and globally competitive individuals in our society in today's new normal. That in this space of new normality, always remember that our life goes on. That in order to acquire knowledge, one must study. Again, I am Jerica Ignacio, and this is 121 educational presentation about the digital application Google Classroom in education in today's world.